Hello again. So this is video 2 of my introduction, but this video specifically is about my experience with the art of preservation, the sacred secretion. I currently have 2 dogs by my legs trying to get my attention. So, and again, if you haven't watched my first video, this one is just acknowledging how absolutely glorious it is here. It's October in the Pacific Northwest, just outside of Seattle, and I just had to do the video outside. Actually, honestly, I have to be outside all the time. If I could choose to be anywhere, I would just live outside. Well, with some of the conveniences of being inside, but I just love being outside. It's my happy place. So for a long time, I think it was about almost 2 years ago, maybe not that long, I had been introduced to the art of preservation, the sacred secretion, and I'm not going to kind of get into it in this video, what it's all about. If you've clicked on this, then you already kind of know what it's about. This is just my experience with it. That basically you live under the tenets of Jesus to a degree on the moon that is under your star sign. And usually you fast in those days and you just live a life of right livelihood, which I try to live honestly most of my life. Obviously I'm human and I falter, but my desire is to try to live my life that much as I can. So I was always kind of curious about it. I had bought a book about it about a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago, and I was really wanting to do it. And I had tried a couple times, but it didn't quite work out for some very physical reasons. Because you can't eat, you can't or shouldn't fornicate or have sexual acts, and anything. You just kind of almost want a very pure 3 days. It's about 2.5 days. So when your sun sign is, when the moon is in your sun sign, is when you want to do this kind of cleanse, so to speak. It's like a spiritual cleanse. And so I just recently finished my second one. So I did the first one last month, in the month of September, and I just did my last one just not even a week ago, a couple days ago, just finished it. And so I wanted to just say my point of view. I bought a book from, I think her name is Victoria Lualau, I think it is name. You can find her The Art of Preservation on Amazon or wherever. And so definitely some deep insights into what it is. Usually when I do a fast, which I've done fasts and cleanses for a very long time, but they were usually with the intention of, giving my body a rest, or, stopping eating sugar, or having more of a consciousness as far as on a physical level. But this time it had nothing to do with my physicality. Granted, it was physicality. Your body is important and all that, but it was not an interest on the physicalness of it. It was the interest on the spiritualness of it. Not even the spiritualness. You know what? I was just open to seeing and experiencing it. I really have had no expectations, but I was just curious. So I will say the last and the first 2 times, which I've just done it, have been probably different than a normal person would do it, because I have been in a lot of grief in the last 2 months. And so my last and the first cleanse I did, I'll call it cleanse, but the art of preservation, the sacred secretion, the Christos, all those things. So I was just like, okay, in September when I did it for the first time, I hadn't ate anything for 2 weeks prior. So to do a cleanse and not eat was already easy because I wasn't even eating, because I was dealing with grief and loss and sadness and anger and just all these emotions. And what I noticed is that I felt even more in tune to my emotions and all these feelings. I almost got much more emotionally charged after doing it the first time. So if I were to say what was the one thing I got from it, it was definitely that I was much more emotionally charged thereafter, during and thereafter, especially thereafter. It was like someone turned up the faucet for my emotions like 1,000-fold. Like before then, I was pretty emotional, the loss of the hope of a marriage that you felt was almost like a soulmate twin flame connection that really came down to empath narcissist dynamics, and you're just like, wait a second, that's it? All that for nothing, really? Which I'll go on another video on that, because I think it's bigger than what that is, honestly, just based on synchronicities that are happening in my life and so on and so forth. But anyway, my emotional state since doing the first one, and definitely after I just did the second one, has been so intense. Like, I almost don't know if I can handle it. So the first one, like I said, I did my 2.5 days. I was in still a lot of grief, so my emotional state probably wasn't as high as it should be when you're doing something like that. But I did just kind of let it open and go. Thereafter, I also started doing, and I mentioned in my first video, my introductory video, that I started doing a little bit more soul work. So every day I kind of open up my own quantum field, which is more of an energy field around myself, and I bring in my team of guides and God or whomever you believe in, and basically I just set intentions and I say what I want to experience and all that type of stuff. And I've been doing that now for a month, and synchronicities and stuff like that are definitely starting to happen. And I just did and finished my second sacred secretions experience. And I swear again, my emotional state, like I took my son to a football game yesterday, and literally I could not stop bawling. And that's pretty much where I've been. I mean, you're looking at me, and I am a woman who has been crying pretty much most of the day, nonstop, for 2 months. Like, I could probably cry right now if I wanted to. Like, I could just turn it on and just start bawling. So I'm hoping one day when I look back at these videos, I'll be like, oh my gosh, you were rough. I'm not a crier. I'm just not that. I mean, I'm emotional and I'm empathic and all that, but I'm not this crier that is constantly crying. But I will tell you, I am like plugged into some like wellspring of just emotionalness. And I'm crying for many reasons. It's not just the fact that the sadness and the despair and the hurt and the rejection and the anger and the loneliness and all this stuff that, came from being in kind of a narcissistic marriage. But it was also like I'm connecting into the earth and the planet. Like I'm feeling all that from other people and those around me, and just the essence of earth. And I'm also experiencing almost the beauty too. It's like this complete juxtaposition between like sadness and beauty, and it's like, it's enough to make you go crazy, honestly. Like, because there's definitely feelings, you don't need to call anyone, that where you're just like, I can't do this anymore. It's too much. Like, it's just coming forth through me, and I'm just like, it's like I'm purging it, not only from myself and my own life, but also partially for the collective, because it's so intense. And so, yes, my practical side saying, well, perhaps you're just depressed, and you need to go and talk to someone. But I'm not depressed. I'm living life. I'm creating things. I'm making things happen. I feel great in a lot of ways. I'm appreciating nature. Depression's almost like you can't appreciate anything. Like, I have been so blown away by the beauty that surrounds me. It's just like, it's like my heart is so full, and so just, that's it. It's like this dichotomy of pain and beauty and all this stuff. Anyway, same thing happened. Like I said, I just experienced the second sacred secretion ceremony, which I just did. And again, I was coming from a place not maybe emotionally as balanced as I should have done when I'm doing this thing, but I feel called to do it, and I've been wanting to do it for a long time, so I'm just doing it. And again, like I said, the emotions from that have been just ridiculous. Like, I'm turned on emotionally so much right now. And I just almost feel like I'm going through some sort of purging. I'm experiencing something in my life right now. My life has moved from being so three-dimensional, which here I am, but also like I think having this sort of feeling of despair and sadness and loss has almost like propelled me into wanting to be in a different reality, which is kind of maybe not here as much, because here is so painful and it's so dense, and it follows these trajectories of, well, this is what this means and this is what this means. And I'm kind of sort of rejecting that a little bit. I'm kind of like, well, shit. How would I decide what things mean, as opposed to living my life listening to what everyone else says or thinks? Like, take what you can from it, but have your own discernment, and also trust in yourself and your own guidance and your own intuition, which I haven't had the best, yes and no. I haven't had the best experience with. But anyway, so yeah, I can't say, I did the 2.5 day fast for it. It was fine. But I can't say, other than just being so much more keyed into emotions, for sure thereafter doing these has been profound, and it's been a little bit intense and a little bit much. Like, be careful what you do, because it's going to come knocking at you. And also the beauty around you. I've noticed that it's almost like I'm on drugs, and I've been on drugs, and I'll tell you, I am not on drugs, and I can totally, it's like your awareness of your reality around you is so profound. So I have noticed those two things. Emotions, nature is so beautiful. The lines of things, the colors, like it's almost like you're on mushrooms or something. Everything's just like woo. And your heart just feels like it's way more open. And I mean, just speaking for myself, dreams are much more intense. Yeah. So my plan is to do a video during or thereafter each sacred secretion for the next year, just to kind of document my first year. But these last two for sure. And also just my intuitive desire, my desire to kind of delve a little bit deeper into myself and my soul and my potential and all that type of stuff. So anyway, it's pretty cool. And if you have any questions for me as far as that goes, you're welcome to ask them in the comments. And yeah, and then like I said, I don't want to make this video too long. It's already 16 minutes, but I just wanted to say that it's an interesting experience. I'm glad I'm doing it, and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, thank you so much. Okay, bye.